Welcome to Electrical Engineering with Excel. Can you really make an Excel workbook foolproof? Well, not entirely, but we can do our best at ensuring that the formulas are protected and that Excel's data validation tool is used to make sure the user is restricted to inputs that are within the allowable limits. The first video I published was a calculator for the LM117 and 317 voltage regulator. Although it only calculated the resistance of the two resistors that programs the output voltage, it covered the number format for engineering notation, it introduced cell styles for the inputs, outputs, and spec values. It covered cell protection, so formulas are protected from overriding. The output style does not allow any user entry when the worksheet is protected. Notice the protection property of the style was set to locked. This prevents the user from overriding the formulas. The input style was made to allow entry into those cells when the worksheet is protected. Notice the protection property of the style was set to no protection. This means the user could enter anything in those cells. Often, entering negative numbers or text would break the calculation. Not only that, but it would allow the user to input values that did not meet allowable specification limits. That's the issue this video will address, which we will use Excel's data validation tool to restrict what can be entered into the input cells. Several other follow-up videos have been published, including creating user-defined function, where we wrote Visual Basic for applications or VBA code for custom functions. We used that VBA code function knowledge to compute standard component values, first with 1% resistors, then expanded that to include the entire E-series standard component values. We then developed code for returning the applicable SI engineering prefix for a number. We then used all those user-defined functions in a spreadsheet to calculate standard component values and resistor powers. Digitizing spec plots allowed us to calculate spec values numerically without having to draw lines on a chart. Next was a semiconductor thermal calculator to predict junction temperatures. We then expanded that to include a thermal materials selector. The workbook at this point has all that functionality in it. To improve on it, we need to get control over the user inputs, so improper inputs do not break the calculation. We will exploit the use of Excel's data validation tool. A perfect example of that is restricting the input and output voltage entries. From the spec, the only absolute maximum ratings for voltage we are given is the input to output voltage differential. Vin minus Vout must be less than or equal to 40 volts. This could allow us to run with 100 volts on the input and 75 volts on the output as an example. That's not a likely scenario, but it's still safe and possible. The second restriction is the output voltage can never be below 1.25 volts. Vout must be greater than or equal to the 1.25 volt reference Vref. The third restriction considers the dropout voltage spec of the regulator, which is 3 volts maximum. So Vin minus Vout must be greater than or equal to 3 volts. We will make use of Excel's data validation tool to ensure these restrictions. Let's begin with the basics of data validation. Let's say we have a parameter A here in the cell I1. Click the cell, and as you can see, as you would expect, we can enter anything into that cell, numbers or text. From the Data menu, select Data Validation from the Data Tools group. Let's first select the Input Message tab and enter a title and an input message as input should be a decimal number between 1 and 10. With that cell selected, a box appears below the cell with that title and that description we just entered. For now, it's only a suggestion for the input value. As you can see, we can still enter anything we desire. Let's go back to the Data Validation tool and select the Setting tab, where we will enter the validation criteria. From the Allow drop-down box, we will select Decimal. Select the Data drop-down box and select Between. Set the minimum to 1 and the maximum to 10. Now we are only allowed to enter numbers between 1 and 10. We get a default message box saying, "This value doesn't match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell." It would be more meaningful to have a better description. Going back to the Data Validation tool, we select Error Alert. By default, the alert style is Stop. We can enter a title and description for the error alert to be more meaningful, saying the input should be a decimal number between 1 and 10. Now we can type in something outside the allowable range and we get the meaningful alert message. We can now also set the error alert style to be information. We still get the alert message, but we can enter anything. The other alert style is warning. The alert message is appended with continue, giving you an option to go with the restricted entry or not. I'll go back and set the alert style to stop and change the message from should to must. And the same for the input message. Now the input is fully restricted, but our input and output voltage entries are more complicated than being simply between two numbers. I find the easiest way to a multi-level data validation is with logic functions that we test before making an entry into the data validation criteria. In an unused cell, type the formula equals Vout is greater than or equal to Vref, and we get true. For the second restriction, type equals Vn minus Vout is less than or equal to Vdiff, which is also true. The third and final restriction, equals Vn minus Vout, is greater than or equal to the dropout voltage VDO. If I put the input as 6 volts, this violates the dropout requirement. If I put in 100 volts as an input, it violates the differential voltage requirement. If I set the output voltage to 1 volt, we violate the minimum output requirement of 1.25 volts. We want all 3 of these restrictions to be in effect simultaneously for both the input voltage and the output voltage cells. We can do that with an AND function. I find it easiest to turn on the clipboard tool and copy all 3 of the formulas except for the equals sign. Simply paste the 3 formulas from the clipboard tool as 3 arguments in the AND function separated by commas. Now we can copy the formula for the AND function That's very important to select both input and output voltage cells because we want to apply the same restriction to each of them. In the data validation allow box, select Custom and paste the AND function in the formula box. Now entering in a combination of unallowed entries causes the stop alert, but now we need a more meaningful error alert. Now we can delete the temporary true-false formulas we created. Selecting both input and output cells again, and then the data validation tool. I'll enter a title of Input-Output Voltage Criteria and paste in a message describing all three of the criteria. I'll do the same for the error alert message. Now we get very clear instructions for the input for these voltages and a message of the criteria that was not met. Now let's move on to the resistor set current. I'll first input the minimum load current spec to maintain regulation in the specs area, which is 10 milliamps. I've already named the cell. I'll select the adjustment pin current cell and click the format painter so it will get the specs cell style and the number format in engineering notation. Now selecting the set resistor current cell and using the data validation tool, I'll paste in a message saying the set current should be 10 times the adjustment current to reduce the error in set voltage and not higher than the minimum load current, which would just waste power. I'll do the same for the error alert, but with a title of out of range. I'll select the alert style as warning. That way the user will be able to make entries outside the range, but will be advised of the consequences. Now for the validation criteria, a decimal number with a minimum of 10 times the adjustment pin current and a maximum of minimum load current. Then test it out with out-of-range inputs. Let's do current now. The input is only used to calculate power dissipation of the regulator. I'll enter that in the specs area as 1.5 amps. I've already named the cell. I'll select the reference voltage and use the format painter again. Now let's set the criteria for the load current input cell. We will allow a decimal entry between 0 and the current limit cell. I'll paste in a description that says it's only used to calculate power dissipation and that it should be less than or equal to the current limit spec. I'll make this a warning style with a title of out of range and the same message as the input message. Now testing with out-of-range numbers. Now watch what happens when I enter an output voltage of 1.25 volts. The R2 calculation is broken. Since Vout now equals Vref, the calculation for R2 is 0. The E-series function that returns the closest 1% resistor value is not happy with a 0 input. Let's go look at that code. From the Developer tab, select the Visual Basic Editor or press Alt F11. The reason for the error is that the log of 0 is undefined, so we need to test for an input of 0 and return a 0 if so. At the beginning, if input val equals a number 0, set the eSeries function to a number 0, exit the function, and end if. I'll copy that code because the engineering prefix function has the same problem. If the input is a 0 number, then set the engineering prefix function to a text 0, since a text is what's returned by this function. Little things like this can happen with various inputs, so it's a good idea to test for as many inputs as possible. I mentioned in the beginning there is no way to make it completely foolproof. And here's an example. You can copy a cell, like the R1 label here, and paste it in an input cell. It also pastes the validation criteria for the R1 label cell, which is none, which wipes out the data validation we created for input voltage. By using data validation input messages, we have a nice way of helping the user understand the context of the cell. It's also helpful to have some information on the output cells in addition to the formulas. We can add a note to the cell. Right-click on the cell and select New Note. The note contains the username. I don't want that, but I've never figured out a way to not have it there. You can delete it inside the note, but that's an extra chore. From the File menu, select Options. In General Options, go to the Personalize Your Copy of Microsoft Office section. If you delete the username, it will just come back. So I decided to make the username simply the word note. Now when adding a new note, the word note shows up. Then I will write a description about what the cell does. Now for the R1 label that's linked to the text box in the schematic. I'll not bore you with completing notes for all the output cells, but you get the point. Finally, we will protect the sheet. Right-click on the Worksheets tab and select Protect Sheet. You can enter a password if you like. By default, while protected, the user can select locked or unlocked cells and click OK. I'll select an output cell and try to delete it. A message pops up saying what you are trying to change is in a protected sheet and that you would otherwise have to unprotect it. Then obviously I can make a change to the input cell. But with data validation, we can keep the user from inputting a value that is out of range or not valid. While not perfect, I hope this methodology will go a long way in helping you make your engineering workbook more robust. Thanks for watching. Please click the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming content.